watching KSL Sports Live.
It's Super Bowl Eve, and yes, we're just as excited for the big game tomorrow as you are, but let's all just take a little break from our party planning and menu prep just for a little bit for this relaxer. Right here, it's KSL Sports Live. The NBA trade deadline was 2 days ago. The Jazz made some deals, and today we got to hear from General Manager Justin Zanik on those moves. Plus, we'll have that coming up, plus Jazz center Walker Kessler in the KSL studios. He'll sit down with Jensen to discuss the direction of this team as they make a playoff push. And we also have new BYU quarterback Gary Bohannon on the show today. What he thinks of the quarterback competition down in Provo this offseason. But we're going to start with fourth-ranked gymnastics team in the nation, the Red Rocks. With just one loss this season, they're still averaging well above 197 points per meet this season, which puts them in a good position to get to the national finals. Today, the Red Rocks up in the Pacific Northwest facing Washington. Utah starts on the bars, and the Red Rocks get a strong rotation to start. 4 scores of 9.9 or higher, starting with Emily Morgan's 9.925. Miley O'Keefe and Grace McCollum end the first rotation with back-to-back 9.925s, and the Red Rocks take the lead after one rotation. In the next rotation, they head over to the vault. On vault, freshman Ella Zerbis and former national vault champion Jaden Rucker. They each delivered a 9.875 to lead the Red Rocks through this event. It was a solid 49.2 on the round, and Utah building a 0.7 lead over the Huskies after 2 rotations. Zerbis continues to make waves in her freshman season. She makes her debut on the floor and nails it. A 9.925. Jalen Gilstrap also switched things up a bit, bringing back one of her older floor routines. She delivers a 9.925, and then Grace McCollum with a 9.95 on the floor, continuing her strong all-around day. The Red Rocks head into their strongest rotation with the lead. Cue the beam team. Utah currently second in the nation on this event. Morgan leading off the Red Rocks with a score of a 9.95. That's huge for her. Abby Paulson also delivering 9.95. The Red Rocks get a solid meet from start to finish all the way around. They win 197.775 to 196.425, and they add to their national qualifying score with that strong road performance. Another big night for college hoops is on the way. Kansas State is making its first ever trip to Provo since 1971 to face the 21st ranked Cougars. The Runnin' Utes, they're at home against Arizona State. And then up in Logan, a night of celebration as they're naming the court after legendary head coach Stu Morrill when the 22nd ranked Aggies host Boise State. All of that coming up later on tonight, but there are already a few other local games in the books. Utah Valley hosting Abilene Christian. Second half, Tanner Toolson getting the steal. Drake Allen rewards Toolson with the alley-oop. Later in the half, Caleb Stone-Carawell, backdoor dunk. He finished with 10 points. On the break again, Utah Valley gonna get another dunk again. This time, Trevin Dorius for the slam. UVU getting a big win, 74-45. Down in St. George, Utah Tech hosting Cal Baptist. In the second half, Tech's Jalen Searles had himself a night. That three-pointer already put him at a new career-high 21, and he wasn't done. Later in the second, Searles runs the pick-and-roll with Hamad Olienka for the slam. Utah Tech would lose its 22-point lead. They would need an answer, so they give it to Searles, of course, who scores the and-one bucket. He had 33 points in the game, and Utah Tech wins 85-78. Top 15 battle in the Big 12. 13th-ranked Baylor visiting 4th-ranked Kansas. First half, Ray J. Dennis finds Eves Misi for the slam. Kansas led 34-28 at half. Second half, Kansas woke up. DeJuan Harris Jr. steps into a three, makes it 47-41. Next possession, Harris, the no-look to the corner. Nicholas Timberlake knocks down the three. Kansas looking to add its 19th win of the season. In the second half, they're up by 5. In women's hoops, the BYU Cougars, fresh off their upset over Baylor, on the road taking on Cincinnati. Second quarter, Kaylee Woolston hits the three. BYU would lead 33-30 at the half. Third quarter, Woolston, she gets going again, hits this three to make it 42-33. She finished with 20 points. Then in the fourth quarter, the Cougars on the break, Lauren Gustin gets the two there. She finished with 21 points, 20 rebounds. BYU wins 69-57. All right, you know, it might not have looked like the Jazz did all that much at the trade deadline on Thursday, but If you talk to General Manager Justin Zanik, he'll tell you that the Jazz were actually one of the few winners this week. The Jazz, the only team in the league to get a first-round draft pick without having to take any money on. The Jazz traded Kelly Olynyk and Ochai Agbaji to the Toronto Raptors for that 2024 first-round pick, as well as veteran forward Otto Porter Jr. and guard Kara Lewis. The Jazz now have 13 first-round draft picks over the next 6 seasons, as well as 3 pick swaps. They also picked up an early second-round pick in the Simone Fontecchio trade to the Pistons. But that left many Jazz fans asking, why more draft picks? Why not add a star player?
When you look at all the other various trades, there wasn't an impact player available that moves the needle in our timeline. And our timeline is one where we want to build around the core that we were able to keep intact. The strength of our team this year has been, I think we have a lot of depth. And some of it's young depth that needs to be developed. And this being part of the plan is you accumulate some assets that were, those teams paid a premium price relative to whatever else was in the market to acquire our players.
Zanik and Ainge want players that can move the needle, that can help this franchise make a run deep into the playoffs. They want to add to the talent that Lauri Markkanen already brings to the team. But the player isn't out there, at least not yet. When that player or players become available, the Jazz, they'll be in a position to pounce.
You want to get the best players that you can. You want to get the best players in the world. I mean, and then you figure it out, because chances are if you've got 2 or 3 top 30 players, I don't really care what position or role. I think you can make it, the more the better. So we're looking for talent that's better than what we got.
Okay, well, we know Lauri Markkanen is part of that talent. He quickly emerged as a key piece in the Jazz rebuild, named an all-star starter in his first season with the Jazz. This year, he was left off that all-star roster, but he'll still be participating in All-Star Weekend next week. Markkanen was chosen as one of 8 competitors in the three-point contest. He's putting up career highs in makes at 3.3 per game, which is tied for 6th in the NBA, and a career high percentage from the three-point line this season, 40.6%. This will be the 2nd straight year that Markkanen is in the three-point contest. This will be the 10th time a Jazz player has competed in the three-point contest. So let's turn it back a bit. Markkanen joining John Stockton and Jeff Hornacek as the only Jazz players to compete twice in the contest. Stockton first participated in 1992, then again in 97. He only made 11 in 92, 13 in 97. He didn't advance past the first round either year. Jeff Hornacek is the Utah Jazz GOAT three-point contest participant. He was in the contest twice as a member of the Jazz, winning both times. In 1998, Hornacek made 17 in the first round and then beat Hubert Davis 16-10 in the final round. Then in 2000, he won again, beating out Dirk Nowitzki and Ray Allen for the title. Bobby Hansen was the first Jazz player to ever compete in the three-point contest. That was at All-Star Weekend in 1990 in Miami. Hansen made 11, but he did not advance out of the first round. Craig Hodges won the three-point contest that year. Donovan Mitchell won the dunk contest as a rookie, but he would appear in the three-point contest in All-Star Weekend of 2021. He got hot late in the first round, 22 points, but Steph Curry would later eliminate Donovan. Mike Conley was also in the three-point contest that same year. He was an injury replacement for Devin Booker, and he nearly won it all. He had 28 points in the first round, 27 in the second round, and in the finals, he put the pressure on Steph Curry. Curry did make his final money ball to beat Conley by just 1 point. Today in the NBA, Thunder, Mavericks already done with, and after the trade deadline, Mavs acquired P.J. Washington. Luka finds him for the alley-oop. Later in the third, another new player, Daniel Gafford, catching the lob from Luka. Then later, Gafford is going to get the rebound and goes back up for the layup and the foul. Gafford finishes with 19 points. The Mavericks win 146-111. Pistons take on the Clippers, and the smoothest player in the NBA. Cue the music. Fourth quarter, Paul George goes for the poster slam over 2 defenders. And later, George hit a fuse. Makes that three, 107-94. Then the finesse layup at the shot clock buzzer for the dagger. George finished with 33 points. Clippers get a win 112-106. All right, we're not done today. We head to Radio Row at Super Bowl in Las Vegas, where former Ute Britton Covey shares his thoughts on Brian Johnson's firing in Philly.
Working out every day. If you see me just smiling, embracing everything about it because I'm here.
BYU football has 9 quarterbacks on the roster as they head into spring football next month. Transfer quarterback Gary Bohannon tells us why he chose BYU coming up. And you just heard Justin Zanik talking about the future of the Jazz franchise. Now hear what Walker Kessler thinks of it. He sits down with Jeremiah Jensen in studio next.
Thanks to UCCU, we're excited to welcome Walker Kessler into the KSL studios. Walker, thanks for joining us. This is fun.
Happy to be here.
You know all about Life Elevated, right? Literally and figuratively. You've achieved greatness at a high level, and we want to give fans a chance to learn how you've done it. It starts with where you grew up in Georgia.
Yeah.
It starts with your family. How did your upbringing and your family help you achieve greatness?
So I grew up in a little town south of Atlanta called Noonan, Georgia. I grew up with an older brother, older sister. I was the baby, so always got picked on at a young age. Yeah. But, I think that it made me more competitive in a way. And my family in general is, extremely competitive. My dad played college ball at Georgia, played overseas. My brother played college ball as well. My sister played beach volleyball. So, we've always were competing, whether it was, basketball or chutes and ladders. Didn't matter. And so I think because of that, I'm where I am today.
At what point did becoming an NBA player become the goal? And what sacrifices did you have to make to achieve that?
I think around middle school is when I had a serious conversation, I want to do this. Obviously, there was times where maybe not. But I think for me, the biggest sacrifice that I made was just, choosing how to spend your time. For me, that was, being in the gym as much as possible, doing everything I can to be great in that regard, but also, enjoying, life as a kid because you don't want to be burned out as well. And that's the concern, but continuing to keep working.
Life Elevated is the Utah State slogan. It's part of your campaign with UCCU, elevated checking. And when you're 7 feet tall, you have no choice but to live life elevated, right?
Yeah, you got to duck through some door frames and stuff like that.
So it's a perfect match. How much are you enjoying life elevated in Utah? And have you now in your second year had a chance to really enjoy it?
Yeah, I love it. The first week I couldn't breathe, but, I think, it's been great. I love the mountains are unbelievable. The people are super friendly. The altitude definitely is a big advantage just being, part of the Jazz. I feel like everyone comes here and is automatically just like, you can't breathe. So being able to play here in front of people, it's a lot of fun.
Your partnership with UCCU has led you to have an opportunity to star in some commercials, do a little acting. In fact, we've got one right now. Can we pull that up right now and play that?
Not in this break room.
UCCU's elevated checking comes with tools that can help you block threats and protect your family online. Just like Walker Kessler protects the rim.
You just can't help it, can you? You got to block everything that comes your way. Don't go to a junior Jazz game. That could get ugly.
Exactly.
But you had a chance to do some acting there, and I was talking to everybody at UCCU. They said you're a natural. How much fun did you have just cutting it loose and having fun making ads?
It was a blast. Fun fact about me, 7th grade, I did theater.
Really?
And I won the theater award at the end of the year. I played Santa Claus as a monologue.
You played Santa Claus?
I did. True story. True story.
Classically trained actor, Walker Kessler.
Listen.
Oh, that's just a portion. Walker had a lot more to talk about. You can hear much more of this conversation coming up tomorrow night, KSL Sports Live. All right, National Signing Day in February, it's just not quite the college football holiday that it used to be. The early signing period in December has changed that. But on Wednesday, BYU added another quarterback to the roster, the high school MVP out of Kansas City, Dylan Dunn. Dunn will be joining BYU as a preferred walk-on. And he's joining BYU as the 9th overall quarterback on the roster. 4 of those QBs added between December and now. This past week, BYU also officially announcing the addition of transfer quarterback Gary Bohannon, who started his career at Baylor and then went to South Florida. Now he's a Cougar with 1 year of eligibility to go. So with the crowded quarterback room, why BYU?
This place is a special place. The atmosphere is lovely. The people are very, very welcoming. The staff, the players, they're just here. They love ball. They love each other. You can see that it's bigger than football here, and that's one thing that stood out to me. And coming here, it just felt like home. My mom came with me. She said the same thing. I just wanted an opportunity. I mean, I've missed the game for a year. I just want the opportunity to be able to compete and play again. So for me, being able to play again was all I needed to hear.
Okay, you heard Bohannon. He hasn't played for a year. He suffered a torn labrum in his throwing shoulder just 7 games into the 2022 season. Bohannon told Mitch Harper on Cougar Sports Saturday that the injury and early rehab process brought him to the lowest points of his life. But now his optimism is at an all-time high.
Really can't put into words how excited I am just to be out there. I mean, just working out every day. If you see me just smiling, embracing everything about it because I'm here. Like, we didn't know if I'd be here. I'm just thankful to be here, honestly. God has a plan. He works in mysterious ways. And for me, my journey was different. And it shaped me in a lot of different ways that I did not know that I needed to be shaped in, and it's developed me, and I'm thankful for it. You look back on it, and at the beginning of the moments, you're like, why me, why me, why me? But all I can say is thank you for the way it went.
All right, well, Utah softball made a memorable run last spring to the Women's College World Series. Now they begin the journey to try and get there again, entering the 2024 season as the 16th ranked team in the nation. The season began this weekend at the NFCA Leadoff Classic in Clearwater, Florida. Utah softball on the Major League Baseball Network taking on Notre Dame, the first ever live collegiate softball game on the network. Top of the third, Kendall Lundberg puts one into the corner. Utes take a 4-run lead. 4th inning, Juju Jackson finds the gap. Utah goes up 6-0 on that double. 5th inning, Leilani Melendez also in that same right center field gap. Another 2-run score for the Utes. A dominant win for Utah softball, 9-3 over the Fighting Irish. They're playing another game as we speak. High school state basketball tournaments are getting closer and closer, fans. We'll take a look at the best games from this past weekend next. High school hoops, the #1 team in Class 6A, Layton in a close game with Farmington. Second quarter, Utah commit Dave Katoa hits the 3, and Layton has the 1-point lead. In the second quarter, Farmington's Paul Beatty with the transition dunk. Got it to rattle home. That tied the game at 34. Fourth quarter, Katoa gets the reverse layup, giving the Lancers a 4-point lead. They would hold on to win the game 71-66. They're now 20-1 on the season. 4th-ranked Harriman hosting 7th-ranked Riverton. Third quarter, Riverton's Ben Barris hits the big and one 3-pointer. He finished with 22 points. In the fourth quarter, Harriman's Malcolm Johnson's going to find Cale Barkley. Watch him just throw that one down. Very next possession, Carlo Mulford to Barkley for the dagger. Harriman wins 73-63. Corner Canyon, the #3 team in the state, hosting Copper Hills. Second quarter, Hayden Gribble with the steal. The acrobatic dime to Isaac Neibauer for the layup. A few possessions later, Neibauer in the corner. He's going to drive in for the layup. Neibauer finished with 21 points. Corner Canyon wins 75-40. Third-ranked Highland was visiting #10 Skyline in 5A hoops. First half, the home team gets the 3 from James Becker. They have a 12-9 lead. Then another 3-pointer, this time from David Rasmussen in the corner. But you know what? Highland can hit them too. Grayson Gaddis from the wing. He connects from downtown. And then how about Isaiah Drisdom, who helped facilitate that 3, this time on the drive through contact. Highland getting the road win 55-36. #1 Alta visiting #2 Olympus. Olympus was dominant. Dutch Dowdell scored 22 points. Jordan Barnes, he dialed up some downtown threes as well as that drive. He had 21. The Titans won the game by 19, 74-55. They improved to 18-3. Alta now 21-2. This was Alta's first loss to a team from Utah this year. How about some buzzer beaters? West Jordan's sophomore Calvin Miller beating the buzzer from about 60-ish feet away. My goodness, what a heave. And then Springville down to the wire against Orem on Friday night. Mason Hansen goes coast to coast where he scoops and scores before the horn. Springville with the win over Orem in overtime, 55-53. We'll be right back. Hey, go ahead and download this KSL Sports app. If you do it in time, you'll be able to listen live to both Utah State basketball against Boise State or BYU basketball against Kansas State. Both of those games tipping off at 8 o'clock. Currently, the Runnin' Utes have a lead over Arizona State. We'll have highlights for all three of those games coming your way tonight on the KSL 5 News at 10 o'clock. And then, of course, you can read out all about those games on this app. We'll see you tonight.